Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to a special behind the scenes video. Today I'm travelling to Brussels. Tonight I'm travelling on an overnight train from Brussels to Vienna. Then I have a same day connection on another overnight train from Vienna to Bucharest. What could possibly go wrong? Well, with me, you never know. Now on this video, it is one video I'm filming over 2 nights, but it will take 4 days of travel to complete that one video. That is crazy, and that's why I'm doing a special behind the scenes to show you what's involved in filming just one video. This video is going to be in 3 parts. Firstly, part 1 is in Brussels. I've got about 7 hours there before I depart tonight. In Vienna, I've got about 7 hours there between trains, and in Bucharest I've got the night, and then I'm coming home the following day. And when I say coming home the following day, that's where everything could unravel. There are no direct flights from Bucharest to Glasgow. I have given myself a real challenge to get home. It's the only way I can get home that day. I want you guys to come along with me as well. Anyway, I'm flying with Ryanair between Glasgow and Charleroi, and I've gone for random seat selection. And I've gotten a middle seat, but it's seat 3B, 3 Bravo. Now that's a middle seat, but I've never been that forward on a Ryanair flight before. So that's a new one for me. Anyway, cue the montage, and I'll see you when we're Brussels Midi station. Wow, I think that was a personal best. Aircraft door to airport door, including a toilet stop, 5 minutes. Right, Flibco. And welcome to Brussels Midi. I've got just over 5 hours, or just over 6 hours, depending on what confirmation you believe. My train is due to leave at 6 minutes past 6 tonight, but I got an email and an SMS to say it's leaving at 6 minutes past 7. Due to construction work on the tracks, it's delayed an hour, but I'll be coming back at the normal time just in case. So I've got 5 hours, in brackets 6 hours here in Brussels. What do? I'm going to go and see some sights. But this also gives me the opportunity to send out a thank you to Ricky, Nikki and Addison. A big thank you to you guys. You know what you did, you know who you are lifesavers. Thank you very much. Right, let's go for a walk around Brussels. The hat and the shades are on, so I'm in business. It's around about 30-31 degrees Celsius at the moment. After 5 hours of this, I don't want to be heading back to Brussels Midi and falling into a heap into this train tonight. So I have to look after myself. On the occasions I've been here in Brussels, I've never been overly impressed. Okay, there's 1 or 2 highlights, yeah, but overall the city does absolutely nothing for me. But here, as I'm walking from Brussels Midi up to the Grand Place, where we're going first, it still doesn't do anything for me. Sorry, Brussels. Just up here a bit. And here we are, the Grand Place. And it's pretty grand. While I'm in Brussels, I'm going to get something to eat. It's a case of eating when I can, not when I want, when you're on the move so much. But just for research and information purposes, and also for a laugh, I want to see how much these kind of outdoor cafes are. I reckon they'll be extortionate. Let's have a look here. Okay, they definitely seem to make their money on the beers. 11, 12, 13 euros, depending on the brand. Burgers, let's have a look here. Beef burger, 22 euros 50. Yeah, a little bit on the pricey side, but that's because you're paying for where you are, not necessarily what you're getting. Remember the first time I was here? This was, I think, 2012. I was here and I had a kind of a stopover, and I came here and it was amazing. I just timed it right because it's that time of the year where the entire Grand Place is covered by flowers. It was a total carpet of flowers, and it only happened, I think it's in about April or May. And the second time I came here, it was one step above being a car park, and here it's not far off that either. It's just people. I thought there was going to be a market or something here, but obviously not. I was approached by two guys from Belgian Beer World. It says it's a unique experience. There's an absolute mass of people down there. Guess what attraction's down that way? Yeah, we'll go and see it shortly, but I'm just going to kind of meander around this square for a little while. There's no denying the architecture here is stunning. These outdoor cafes with their expensive prices, they keep catching my eye because I was thinking, I had breakfast at 5 AM this morning. It has now gone almost 1:30 PM local time. That's why I'm getting a bit peckish. But I'm going to fight the temptation of eating in one of these places because, you know, like I said, you're paying for where you're eating, not what you're eating. I've just checked two other restaurants, and the prices tend to be for a basic pasta dish 18 to 19 euros. If you want something a little bit more fancy, maybe 22, 23 euros. But the beer is where they make their profits. Yeah, and you can't have one without the other. Not when you're traveling anyway. I might go down and see this little chap here. So a place back here, they're selling fries. That's all, just fries. And there are 20 people in the line. What? I think it's a case of if you see a shop and it's got 5 or 6 people queuing at the door, you think, oh, that must be a good place, let's go in there. I'll tell you, there's no shortage of places selling French fries, that's for sure. I was looking for something a little bit more nutritious, a little bit more filling than that. Here we are. I'm not a great fan of crowds, but I can handle them as long as they keep moving. But it's when you get a whole crowd of people blocking an entire street with their mouths open. Just, oh, no, please. So I've come into the side street and I found a place which is surprisingly just as expensive as the others. Okie dokie, that's me fed with a rather large lunch, but that'll keep me going because the train tonight, it's operated by Nightjet, and I'm pretty sure they have a cafe, but once I get settled, that'll be me for the night. I'm not going to be moving. Prices there are probably about 2/3 of what they are just around the corner, close to the Mannequin Piss and the Grand Place. Beer was definitely 2/3 the price, and it was pretty good. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this shop across the road there, and it's called Boris Boy, and I thought, what's Boris Boy? I couldn't tell what they were selling because of the reflection on the windows. So I went online, you know, for research and information purposes to find out what Boris Boy was. And I was shocked and stunned. Shocked and stunned. You ready for this? Boris Boy is the biggest fashion shop for men in Brussels. Okay. All the best products. Underwear, fetish wear, club wear, poppers, lubricants. What are poppers? I mean, I know what party poppers are, but surely they... No. Yeah, this is a family channel. Yeah, so shocked and stunned. Although I did notice this lovely building as well. That's pretty nice, isn't it? I was thinking, now that I've had some food in my stomach and had a beer, maybe I'll be a little bit more accommodating towards Brussels and the tourists here. Maybe not, but you never know. Shall we investigate this church? While I was sitting there having my laugh, I was thinking about being a solo traveller. It has advantages and disadvantages. And it didn't actually register until I went to Budapest once. I'd been to Budapest and I spotted this railway carriage, and it was in a park. And I thought I really must go and have a look at this, because if you cover up your good eye, squint through your bad one, it could have been a carriage from the Orient Express. It had to be done. Of course, it's nothing like the Orient Express, but it could have been. Inside it was very nice. It was dimly lit. The tables had little lamps and there was light jazz filtering through the car. And I went back there a second time. I went back there to go to this restaurant car. And I was sitting there like Scotty no mates, and I thought, this is one of these moments where I wish I had someone to share the moment with. And it wasn't until last year I was in Gibraltar, and I was shooting a video called Could I Live in Gibraltar, which is actually very, very successful for my channel. And I was there down by the marina, and I was watching the sunset over the Mediterranean, and I thought, this is really nice. And it was another one of those moments where I thought, you know, I really should be traveling with someone. The problem is, Sue's not a great traveller. She loves Scotland and she'll travel around Scotland, but she's not really much of a traveller. And Blair likes to travel as long as it's not long haul, or if it's first class. He's a first class boy actually. He won't ever go onto Flixbus. No chance. So I'm kind of limited as to who I can take along. But I'm heading back up to the Grand Place, which I think is around here somewhere. One of my favourite travel authors is Paul Theroux. If you don't know the name, you may know his son. Here in the UK, Louis Theroux does documentaries. That's his son. Anyway, Paul Theroux has written some absolutely excellent travel books in the past. And very often he refers to his job being a solo travel writer. And so much of what he writes about I can relate to as a solo YouTuber. And he says that being a solo travel writer is probably one of the most selfish jobs in the world. Because he's on his own, he's totally in charge, he is responsible for everything he gets right, he gets a rap over the knuckles if he gets it wrong, but he wouldn't have it any other way. And I think I'm the same, although, like I said, there are moments where I think I'd like to be able to share this moment with someone. That's the price you pay when you're a solo YouTuber. Well, the Grand Place has gotten very, very busy since I was here. Now that I've cleared off, probably people came, that's what it is. But wow, this place is packed now.
What is this place?
Well, I think I've seen everything I really wanted to see in this very short visit to Brussels. I was here with my son Blair. He must have been about 7 or 8 at the time. And we went to the Atomium, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. It's some sort of molecular structure, and you can pay something like 15 euros to go up to the top, have a look and come back down again. I mean, the price is sky high, but the design itself is brilliant. And next door there's a kind of a Europe in miniature display where you can walk around this garden. I think it's a bit like Legoland in Windsor. You can just wander around and look at all these things from the EU. There's the police keeping an eye on me. All these things from the EU, and it was actually quite fascinating. But I shall not be doing either of those today. I'm going to head back to Brussels Midi now. And here I am back at Brussels Midi. I'm going to find a place to set up base camp. At least I'm out of the sun and away from the crowds here, and I can get myself psyched up for my big train trip tonight. I think it's 16 hours to Vienna. That'll be a good one, won't it? This is not my favourite railway station. It's functional, it does the job, and nothing else. So I've been sitting down in the station for a while, and I thought, boy, it's hot down here. So I thought, let's go up to the platform, there might be a breath of fresh air. There is a little bit of a breeze, but wow, the air is so hot up here as well. There's no escaping it. Yeah, so I'm going to try and find a supermarket. I'm going to get some drinks for tonight, maybe some snacks, and then I'll be able to work out eventually what platform my train's leaving from an hour later than planned. Yeah, it's definitely cooler down here than it is up on the platforms, but not by much. There's some air conditioning, but it's not doing the job. I need some iced coffee to get me up to a cruising altitude and to cool me down as well. Then we'll go and see what platform we're on. I can't tell you how much I needed that iced coffee. It's done the job, it's given me a second wind. Okay, the plan is to finish part 1 of this video and go seamlessly into the actual train video itself. I was walking past the departure board down there and it shows the 1808 going to Vienna, and I thought, no, it's been delayed by an hour, but it doesn't indicate there's a delay. So I better get down there and get to platform 7 just in case it is actually on time. I don't want to miss my train. So anyway, this journey tonight is 13 stops between between Brussels and Vienna. I'm not going to get too much sleep, but I'll see you tomorrow about 10:15 if we're on time at Vienna Hauptbahnhof. Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to Brussels Midi Station. And we made it to Vienna. That was a long journey. Don't forget to watch the video, it's coming out the week after this one. It'll show you, it'll tie everything up. Right, there are 3 things I need to do while I'm in Vienna. Priority number 1, get some coffee to get me up to cruising altitude and maybe get some breakfast because I haven't eaten in around about 18 hours. Do some sightseeing, maybe buy a souvenir or 2, and then this afternoon I'm going to do the lunch thing because that'll be my last meal for about 24 hours. The train to Bucharest arrives at 3 in the afternoon, so that's going to be a long one. So yeah, enough talking, let's get outside and try and find some food because I am hungry. You know what it's like, you have this idea in your head and you have to fulfill it. The idea in my head at the moment is a coffee. Boy, do I need a coffee. And also an omelette. I would love an omelette. Something not too heavy, something just to put something in my stomach because I've got a special lunch arranged later in the day. According to Google Maps, which you can always rely on, there are a couple of places up here which allegedly sell omelettes. So wish me luck. Well, I found a place that does schnitzel, but schnitzel isn't on my kind of must-have list while I'm in Vienna this time. An omelette. I love when a plan falls into place. Just over there, allegedly they do omelettes, and they are open. You know what it's like, you've got your mind set on an omelette and you think, oh, I hope this is a really good omelette. Well, that didn't meet my expectations, it exceeded it. That was an extremely good, very nice omelette. Cheese and ham. Thing is though, it came to about 17 euros including a latte. You have to have a latte. And cash only. I thought, what? With the cost of many of the items on his menu, I thought, you only accept cash here? But from what I was hearing, most of his business seems to be old ladies kind of dropping in and chatting to him and having a latte or a cappuccino. In fact, that's the reason why I didn't do any more filming at the restaurant, because he was in the table next to me chatting up these 2 ladies. Right, what I'm doing now is I'm going to walk foolishly about 5 or 6 kilometers to the north because there's something I want to see. I was thinking I could catch the metro and I could be there in 10 minutes. But then I thought, why would I want to do that? I've got all day, it's a lovely blue sky, it is a bit hot, but I can do it. And tonight when I'm in my solo cabin I can give myself a wash. So yeah, so first thing I want to see up here about 5 or 6k. How groovy is that for modern building? I do like Vienna, but of course Vienna doesn't like me. If you watched my video from last year, where I live in Vienna, you'll know why. I'll put a link there below. It makes an interesting viewing, and when I did research on that, I found some disturbing facts about the Viennese. But as a visitor, not a problem. As expected, I'm getting distracted. Right, back on course down that road there. So here's a question for you. Do you think I feature food too much on this channel? Let me just tell you something. What you see is what I eat. And I was doing a bit of a calculation that rarely do I actually have 3 meals a day. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. If I start off boom 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 doing the videoing, I'll skip breakfast and go straight into lunch. If I have a breakfast, I'll slide then into an early dinner. But rarely do I have 3 meals a day. In fact, a subscriber bumped into me recently and said, "Wow, you're actually thinner than I thought you were." I know that the camera puts weight on, I know that much. But yeah, I don't eat as much as you might think. Here's the old Opera House. In fact, thinking of that omelette back there, that wasn't a breakfast. It was even a bit late for a brunch because it was midday. That's more of a lunch, and then later on I'm going to slide straight into a dinner, and that'll be me. I'll get some snacks, some drinks for the train, because I'm going to be on that train for 18 hours, something like that. So I've got to have some supplies, and I'm not convinced there's a cafe car on board. I knew it was going to happen one day. I've got a police escort out of the area, honestly. I haven't been breaking the law or anything. They just don't trust me. This is what we're here for. Every time I come to Vienna, I have to check out St. Stephen's. It is a beautiful church, but you know something? I've never actually been inside it. And that's not going to change today either, because there's a big line there. I think there's concerts going on, so there's an admission fee, and around there there's lines as well, so not this time. And of course, unless things have changed, all the horses are kind of parked around the corner here. Europe's currently experiencing a heat wave, and at 33 degrees Celsius at the moment, and it's just gone 1 o'clock. Yeah, it's warm. I was wondering about the welfare of the horses, but they're looking fine. They've got loads and loads of buckets of water just down there. Plenty of water for the horses. €10 for a horseshoe. I guess if you're looking for a unique souvenir, that's the one to go for. A horseshoe for €10, straight from a horse, from St. Stephen's Church here in Vienna. That's one thing I really want to do while I'm here, so let's see if it's open to the public. I think from memory the last time I was here it wasn't. A major tourist attraction in one of Europe's major capital cities, and it's cash only. Okay, I have withdrawn €20. Here's 10 in cash. €4.50 just to withdraw that, plus probably the worst exchange rate in Western Europe. But it needed to be done. And that was the second ATM I went to. The first one, Bank of Austria, thanks, no thanks, because they didn't accept a Visa card. And it's a debit card as well. So I just went around the corner to the next one, not a problem. But it's €4.50 later. Right, let's get inside the South Tower. And here we go. I did notice the number of steps fell into the 3-digit category. I didn't read anything after that, but we can do this. After sitting on my backside for 16 hours on that train, I'm sure I need a little bit of exercise. What do you reckon? Hey, at least it's cool in here, but I'm starting to wonder whether a latte and an omelette was actually enough energy for this kind of walk. Oh, and as I was coming in, there was a couple behind me and they were speaking English, and I could hear them going, "Oh look, it's cash only." I'm not the only one that gets caught out. That was sore. I started to get a cramp in my right calf. Oh good. Probably a lack of salt because of the amount of sweating I've been doing. There's so many people coming down. Hopefully there's space up there now. Cramps in both calves now, but we made it. Okay, once I've recovered from this, see these trees over here? The plan is to go over there because there's a place I'd like to have lunch. It's 2 o'clock, I might hold off for another hour and then I will have my one and only main meal of the day. This is the part where I come a cropper. Fortunately, I think my travel insurance will cover me for falling down flights of stairs. I must say, it is a lot easier coming down than it is going up. ...343 steps each way, and coming down has its hazards as well because a lot of the steps are in shadows and you can't quite see whether there's actually a landing there or a step. You got to take your time. Anyway, I didn't kill myself, that's the main thing. Right, I think we should go for a little wander around here and then, and then think about maybe lunch. 2:10, still a little bit early because I had my omelette, but I need to be back at the station for 7, so still plenty of time. It's important to keep your core body temperature down to a certain level. The only seat I could find where I could sit down and enjoy my mango frozen yogurt was down by those horses there. And I'll tell you, it was a bit whiffy. But it got me thinking, I wonder how much a horse ride is. I did some research. Apparently it's called a fiacre. 60 euros for a 20-minute ride, 105 euros for a 40-minute ride. It can go up as far as 280 euros, depending on how far you want to go and whether the horse wants to take you there. The third thing on my list to do was to go to the Cafe Prukkel and have eiernokrel, which is egg noodles. And I had that once before and it was delish. Mwah. However, it is 2:45 and I am not hungry. I had an omelette. I don't usually have large lunches. And like I was saying before, rarely do I have all 3 meals. So today I might even be skipping dinner, although I might get a snack just before I get on the train. But is it wrong? I might have a beer, you know, body temperature and all that kind of stuff. Where to get a beer without being totally ripped off around here though, that is the question. The nice waiter has recommended a Schladminger. Now, any Minger is a good Minger as far as I'm concerned, and a large Minger is €6.70. That'll do the job. One pint of beer and I'm totally full. So yeah, the egg noodles will have to wait till next time, I think. I think I'm actually feeling the heat more than I did yesterday. I don't know if it's to do with the fact that there's tiredness involved as well, or maybe it's just a little more humid here, but wow, this is one of the disadvantages of not having a hotel to go to. You go back to the hotel, you can freshen up. I don't have that luxury. My only freshening up is going to be on board the train. I even doubt there's going to be my own wash hand basin. I think it's going to be shared facilities, but I'll be giving myself a nice long wash if I can. Right, I'm here at the Hauptbahnhof. I have got a couple of hours to kill, but at least it's cool in there. I might go in there and find a seat and set up base camp for a couple of hours. Well, to be honest guys, I was really struggling before, but I found a place up at the platform here. I sat there for the best part of an hour. There was a nice breeze blowing through the station, and I'm as fit as a fiddle now. So I'm going to go get some supplies for tonight's train, because you know, I'm really not sure there's going to be a cafe or a shop on board. Right, let's do this. Well, that's me managed to get just about everything I wanted from the supermarket, so I'm going to find out where the train leaves from, and I'll see you at Bucharest North Railway Station in around about 19 hours. See you then. It was pretty tough, but we got there. I'm glad you guys came with me as well, and I'll see you next time. And so here we are at Bucharest Nord. I was doing a little bit of a calculation. My last meal was at 12 noon yesterday in Vienna. That was the omelette. It is now 4 p.m. So that's what, 28 hours without a proper meal. And no wonder I'm a little bit hungry. Right, I know there's a shop down here, a little cafe or a bar, whatever you want to call it, and they do meat. Now meat is a kind of a meatball, but instead of being in a ball, it's in a sausage, and it's very Romanian, and it's very delicious. So I'm thinking of going there for meat. I'm also thinking of going to have a beer to celebrate arriving into Romania. What do you reckon? Yeah, let's do this. And by the way, watch out for this video on the actual train journey itself. It will all kind of make sense after a while, but it was a tough one. Right, meat, beer. I like Bucharest North Station. It's got everything you need. It's got a great place that sells meat and beer. It's got a coffee shop. It's got a McDonald's if you're desperate. It's even got a Carrefour Express, and that's where I'm going now because I need to get some things for the room tonight. Okie dokie, I've got my supplies for the room. Primarily drinks, no Haribo bananas. And I was having a look at trains to the airport, which I'll need tomorrow morning and run roughly every 30 minutes. And from memory, there's an acute shortage of ticket machines in this station. And yeah, I couldn't find a single one there. But I think on the train to the airport, you can pay on board. Just tap your credit card. Okay, time to get to my hotel and check in. I'm staying in the Ibis, which is about a kilometre from the station. I've stayed there before. In fact, I think this is about the third time I've stayed here. It's nice and handy because, like I said, you're there in 10 minutes, and tomorrow I've got a train. I'm going to be leaving at around about 8 o'clock-ish. I have to work out exactly what I'm doing tomorrow morning, but it's close enough. Coming into Bucharest on the train, I noticed there was a couple of very lovely areas just north of the city. Maybe about an hour, maybe 2 hours north. Very popular railway stations, and I'm guessing it's very popular for day trippers. So I'm going to have to investigate that. That is one of the things I do when I'm away. Not only do I do what I need to do while I'm here with the old GoPro, but I keep my eyes open for something else. And as time goes on, I'm thinking setting up base camp in Bucharest for a week and doing day excursions might be a good idea, because there's some lovely, lovely areas, and I've only ever seen Bucharest. I need to go further afield. Yeah, so this behind the scenes video is far from over. Like I said, I'm spending the night here at the Ibis, but tomorrow there are no direct flights from Bucharest to Scotland, so I have to travel on Wizz from Bucharest up to Luton, and then Easyjet up to Edinburgh, then a CityLink coach to Glasgow, and it's going to be a long, long day. And there is a possibility of something could go pear-shaped, although I very much doubt it. You guys can tag along with me as well. Can I just say that meet was really good. It could have been a little bit warmer, but it was still pretty darn good. And it's all because of a channel called Jet Lag Warriors. Whenever they're in Romania, that is their go-to food, and I can see why. And you know, because of the exchange rate, it's only about £1 each. The most expensive part of that whole meal was the beer. But £1 for them each. I had two, I had fries, I had ketchup, and I got a smile from the guy as well. There you go. Right, Ibis is just across the road. Well, the guy on reception had me worried for a moment, but only for a moment. He asked, "What is your name, please?" I said, "Manson, M-A-N-S-O-N. Tapped away, tapped away, tapped away. "I need your passport, please." So I gave him my passport. "Anthony." I said, "No. I cannot find your booking. Do you have a booking confirmation number?" And I had the printer. I always print out every confirmation just for that reason, just in case the battery goes low on the old phone, you know, that kind of stuff. Nothing beats a bit of paper. And he found it. "No Anthony." I said, no Anthony. I don't know where Anthony came from. I don't even know who Anthony is. I've never known an Anthony, but he seemed to think Anthony was connected to my booking somehow. So I set him straight. Yeah, breakfast is from 7 a.m. and this is what you get for, I think it's about £70 a night. I'm going to double check that. But this is your typical double. Let's go for a very quick explore. This is an Ibis Styles, and if you've stayed at one of these, you've stayed at them all. TV, chair down here. Most importantly, I will be using that shortly, is the bathroom. And usually these are in pretty good nick. This one's looking clean, and see that shower there? I'm going to be using that in a few moments. Oh man, they've got a kettle as well, and I didn't bring my own supply of coffee. Darn. But they do have a fridge. That'll do. Right, 2 nights on sweaty trains, 2 days in sweaty capital cities. I need to remove some of the sweat. So I'm going to have a shower, a very long shower, and I'll see you when I'm out. Back in 2012, when I started travelling seriously again, I used to take a photograph of each window, each room view, so I could look back and think, wow, how did I manage to sleep that night? First time I stayed here was a road view. The second time with Blair, my son, it was a road view with an intersection. Boy, was that noisy. All night there was sirens and stuff going on. I've got a nice quiet one today. How's this for a view? I don't think I'm going to be interrupted by sirens tonight. Right, a shower. When I was on the train, I had a decision to make. A, come to the hotel, check in, have a shower, and then take it from there. Or B, have something to eat at the station, come to the hotel, check in, have a shower, and have an easy night. I decided to have the food at the station, and I'm so glad I did, because I've had a shower now, and the last thing I really feel like doing is going out now. It is actually 20 minutes to 6. If it was my first time in Bucharest, fair enough, but I'm here purely because there are no flights back to Blighty tonight. I have to wait till tomorrow. It's basically an hour night. So I'm going to relax, and I'm going to watch this thing on TV. That was a nice, lazy evening, but it's time for bed. See you in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Okay, despite my attempt to sleep before midnight, it wasn't until after midnight before I got to sleep. And the reason for that is because the air conditioning isn't working. So this room is very, very warm. But there's a window and you can open it. One slight problem, next door there's a bar, and there was football on last night, and there was a lot of cheering. So if I can't sleep, let's find out what the big game is. And there are no Romanian matches being played last night, but there was one English Premiership match being played, and that was Liverpool versus Bournemouth. And I did count 4 big cheers. So it might have been the local Liverpool supporters club down there having a good old cheer and watching their team to victory. Once that finished, I was able to fall asleep. Right, it has just gone 10 minutes past 7. I'm going to finish getting ready and I'm heading down to get breakfast. Another warm day in Bucharest coming up, but I'm out of here now. It's just gone 8 AM. I'm going to head off up to the station now. Time for an early morning rant. Technology is supposed to make life easier for the consumer, that's me, and the service provider, that's Wizz Air. So I went on to get a boarding pass for my first flight today, Bucharest to Luton, and use the app, and it says, oops, looks like you don't have an internet connection. It's always the customer's fault when something goes wrong, isn't it? Ryanair's terrible for that. Oops, you don't have an internet connection. Tried it a second time, no internet connection, even though I knew I had an internet connection. So I thought, right, okay. So I went on to Easyjet, who is my second flight today. That's from Luton to Edinburgh. Worked like that, no problem. Go back to Wizz. Oops, it looks as if you don't have an internet connection. So keeping in mind that I have no internet connection, I went onto their website and checked in and got my boarding pass that way. So obviously it meant, in fact it wasn't an internet connection problem, I needed to update the app. Now I'm no designer of apps, but I do know the difference between when your internet isn't working and when you need to update an app. So how come these guys can't give the right error message? It would have saved a lot of hassle, and it would have saved me a little bit of stress. Anyway, we've got both boarding passes now. I'm on my way to Bucharest Nord station and the train to the airport. Wow, 8:15 in the morning and you can already feel the heat building up. It's going to be a warm one here. Right, let's get into the station and look for, if there is such a thing, a ticket machine. I did find a ticket machine, but it's in Romanian only. Let's see if we can buy a ticket here, just for a laugh. I've got 15 minutes. Okay, the nice lady said in front, in front. Now exactly in front of what, I'm not quite sure, but I'll go for a little wander. Plan B is just to pay on board, which I'm sure I can do. Well, there ain't anything over here that she was pointing to, apart from a couple of ATMs and coffee machines. It still is a nice station though. This station is absolutely packed, and this is the quiet part of it. From memory they left from down here somewhere. Maybe in front means in front of the platform, who knows. Leaves in 10 minutes, but like I said, plan B, I'll just pay on board. Yeah. 3 minutes before departure, platform 10. Guess what's missing from each platform? Yeah, platform number. Platform 10. Oh, I can see where they are, right, okay. 14, okay. I'll take that back. It's just very hard to see when you're looking into the sun. That train costs the equivalent of £1. That must be one of the cheapest city-to-airport transfers in the world. It only takes 15 minutes. I'm here with plenty of time, I'll get through security and I might have another one of these coffee things. The departure process was one step above organised chaos. There's a lot of construction work going on, loads of signage, but you know, it's all over the place. And the queuing system is a bit hit and miss. But we're in anyway. I'm going to try and find a coffee. I've got just under 3 hours now to kill. Get me up to cruising altitude. I had a little bit of a scare at passport control there. Finally got to the man, looked at me, looked at the passport and said, Birmingham. And I said, no, Luton. And he looked at me and tap in his computer. Ah, right, okay, stamped the passport. It's as if maybe I'm the first person to actually go onto the Luton flight. It leaves in an hour. I went for a random seat selection with Wizz 3 Delta, which is an aisle seat, but it's up at the front, so I should be able to make a sharp exit. And here we are at Luton Airport. Wizz Air, I don't actually mind Wizz Air, although they do get slagged off a fair bit. I just think they've got a very strange name for an airline. I do get it, you whiz from A to B, but when you're brought up in Australia in the 70s and 80s, taking a Wizz is not a choice of low-cost flights. No. Anyway, I mentioned earlier on, when you're on the road you tend to miss out on meals. Now I've had breakfast. It's going for 2 p.m. now. I've got the choice. I can either have a lunch now or I can have a very, very early dinner. My flight leaves in just over 3 hours with Easyjet up to Edinburgh. So I'm going to be having a dinner because if I have a lunch or something light, I'm going to be starving by the time I get home. I won't be home back into Paisley until about 8 o'clock tonight. So dinner it is. And do you know something? I fancy an Italian. But can you get Italian here airside at Luton Airport? I guess there's one way to find out. Right, but through security, I'm on the hunt for Italian. I did have my heart set on arrabbiata, but I might be raising my bar a bit too high here at Luton Airport. So pizza it's going to be. Okie dokie, that didn't go according to plan. An Italian named pizza bar, and they don't actually have any pizzas. Right, where was plan B? Somewhere up here, somewhere. I'm starting to think that even having a pizza here is raising the bar a bit too high, you know? Where I've scanned the whole of Luton Airport, and the nearest I can come to Italian is mac and cheese, garlic bread, and Stella Artois. Cheers. See the things I think of when I'm on the road. Ever wondered why the doors on an aircraft are always on the left-hand side, the port side? I'll tell you after I finish my mac and cheese. Okay, so why do aircrafts always have doors on the left-hand side? It goes back to the sailing days. Apparently ships used to dock and they used to take things off ships and take things onto ships on the left-hand side. I'm guessing that's why it's called the port side. And it's just a kind of a continuation of that. There you go, see the things you learn on this channel. One other thing you're going to learn is the fact that my flight's been delayed. I think it's only 15 minutes, but it's looking ominous. Random seat selection on Easyjet, seat 1E Echo, which is a middle seat, but it's a bulkhead as well. Row 1. And here I am back in Glasgow 4 days after I left. That was easy enough, wasn't it? There's a lot of work involved for a 2-night video, isn't there? Yeah, and what did I learn? Well, if you get 2 confirmed trains and they're confirmed to leave at a certain time and they tell you they're leaving later than planned, don't believe them. Always assume it's going to leave on time. I nearly got caught twice with that trick. And also, don't assume that because you're going to an Italian place that sells pizzas, you're going to get a pizza. That doesn't always happen either. Anyway guys, thanks very much for coming along, and I'll see you next time.